I'm going to read 10 poems. The first poem I'm going to read is the contents page of the book, so it seems like a good introduction. It's a poem in itself that's made in a kind of game involving the first word and the last word of the first line of every poem in the book, so it's very, very simple. And I just thought it would be a good introduction. And then the rest of the poems are short, and it might be helpful to say that all of them were written in response to my own deliberate mistranslations of Petrarch's poems, the 14th century Italian poems about love. So, you'll read this poem by me because it's a vendetta that seeks the sunlight. She quite likes art. I'm, however, only interested in whispers if they can show me the tubes that send up from the lung at work, blowing their secrets into view. It comes out from behind time, a complexity of air, unchecked erection. It seeks the shade. If you know who I am, or why my tongue from Italy points a compass badly north, leaving you a child in a movie after the absolute event, getting home from school, the whole house different now, him by himself, Ram Pellicerate staring at his face, a tricorned moon, there now. I can see growing disdain in it. A good time to tell you I'm a warrior, I'm a woodlouse, I'm anything on this earth, in truth, but constant. It's just a stage. Take parts into the round. We, for drama, gesture at the sky. She, for pity, points back to the land. Charles puts pins in his book for the fortunes of John. This whale that Victorians harpooned feels blue. Green screen scene, or the next poem is lost. This is no time to be fixated on a horse. What crisis immigration? Still violence conducted amorously. If you want to hear the story of 1,000 lives, I commend you to the egg who sat on the wall. Phil, recognize me, Phil. 8 lives left until I am outlived. You'll hear me when you're listening to me. Simplesse oblige. I've made a young mistake so I can watch it grow up rigorously into another man from the woman that I am now. The different kinds of crying and reasoning are so boring. Between rolling hopes, there's a vague pain and a cliff. From my lovers, I expected pity, but not to be forgiven. I am old now, not like all the reliable people. Beans, for a long time. Soft waves. Parts of myself that make me ashamed, and I am ashamed. Of the vanity and the fruit, and my loss of thoughts, and the clear broth of splash that, whatever pleases the world, is a stiff drink. I'll try this side. The throat and the sound is the ozone lung. It's the year of the world when power disbands, waves run in the tracks of my hesitance. Our nature stands defeated in a wine-coloured costume. Orpheus, are you exhausted, my kindly whale in the spume? I designed my human life according to shapes in the sky, but it kept adding things that were hard to believe. Foppery. Who wants to hide in the helicon? Not your bloody hands. What of the steam-powered laurel? The mechanical myrtle? There she goes. Lady Philosophy, poor and naked. This was whispered when I won the village in a game of dice. If I had taken the way of the whale, I'd have even less company now. I might have prayed for more, but before all that, I looked back. Only goes to show the river runs under the magnificence of my song. Leaving my eyes behind, I turn towards you all like in a horror movie with the beautiful face of the one who is going to die. I am so fucking free here, my lone John points. Only the ration betrays me, the garlic rule. A sweet pickled beetroot can put an end to city thoughts. The king today, see the loving way that he leads, in the room, not in the room. I step out to visit the portal of health where the wind touches the land. There's an object, less solid than whole, a spinal column under the bush of sticks, some buds. Women are made of small virtues and little old pains. They come like crab's pinches. The hour of plants is at hand. Take it. Don't refer to the things your mind knows, but to what's inside them. Can you hear me? Yes, I can really hear you. There are animals in the other world that will change the way you see if you will meet them instead of defending yourself. Others whom this enlightenment offends won't venture forth until evening approaches, and others, crazed with hope, will dance and joke in the fire. It is so splendid to try another power, that of the arson. The cowboy of my madness is in its final phase. I am not strong enough to wait for the light. But how can I make myself stay in dark places at late hours? With shaky and dripping eyes, this drives me to strike the match. I know too well that what I want stands behind the fire. A thousand breaths. Sweet warrior. Peace. A woodlouse dropped on its back. I've offered. You don't want. Your mind is at the top of a hill. To hope. It's weak to hope. I disdain that. It cannot be ever again such as it was. But now I flatten it. In unhappy exile, any help is welcome, not knowing how to be alone or how to make a phone call. Put a stop to. Natural course. That heavy responsibility. Let's use both our hands. Too much the more of you. So much the more. We are trekking on a purple sponge cake in an orange sky. I point my feet east and west to make seedling prints. The quince rain is lavender, observes its own acidic effect. We collect golden butter oozing from its chosen nodes. On the right-hand side, God walks in reverse, perverse heart tilted, hands upturned. Adjourned, my pretties. Go home, say other prayers. Layers spin out beneath us as the cake divides. I fall into whipped cream, it's matte and black. Crack shows me you, fallen through to piles of treasure. Pleasure of blanched almonds pulverized along the way, lazy toes flap in the wind. I am simply benevolent. Event leading to event, leading to event. Spent countless hours of looking. No hell in sight. This gentle animal, I want for it to be a horse. It's called to another life by its own mechanism. That's sickness. It's just a question of gradations from the most blessed part. If captured, there's no reason it couldn't be a horse, even if that would distort something, because to look at her infinitely, you'd think she could be anything. The souls around her are scattered, and that movement of hers like a ripple through nothing, that shimmy of time, a syncopated ticking under the fourth beat, that tenebrosity boxed into a mirror and melted in a green flash is the utmost of things, and that only should have the fame and the shout. But it will be nothing in that it could be all. She won't inhabit herself, she never did. She died of headaches. If she flies any higher than this, I swear, I'll be so grapefruit I'll die myself. The stars were still on fire, but I would not say amorously. In the west, the propitious one who makes Juno jealous was hovering over Costa Head, and, brighter than all the others, she twisted and turned and sparkled her light. She was up-hoisted, little old thing, on the noose of your curl, a gem disintegrating and unshod in relation to carbon. The pungent lovers at this stage, covered in blood, still called to each other out of habit in teary voices. When I brought my spray of green grasses to the graveyard to be added into the heart's decision, used and passed by, I was dosed with dreamgrams until the pain softened. Now I am much changed, quite different from before. Some would say I've lost my grip, but not on Venus. I won't be torn from you. This last poem is a message from a woodlouse that I lived with while I was writing the book. I'll just wait. I pace more and more thoughtfully on the blank wall, measuring the slow steps of each of my legs, like oars of a galleon on a vertical sea to carry the spices, except that I've escaped the piratical intention. I find no other scheme that tickles me half as much as to tread in 14 on the bourgeois manifesto of these people, their acts of happiness exhausted in another custard cream. From outside, it reads as if I am a vampire inside. From inside, I believe myself at home, so be my guests. The mountains and the shores, the rivers and the forests of the house. Damp is the temper of my life, slow unless accelerated by a flick. Thoughtful antennae spread-eagled, little dancing in a selvage of their woven stuff, looking. I don't know that kind of love, but I know myself. See you on the dance floor.